because I was driving to pick my daughter up from daycare, and then the roads are pretty narrow in parts of Vancouver. So there's cars parked on both sides. One of the cars had parked illegally, so a tow truck was towing the car away. But the tow truck itself, it takes like 5 minutes to get the thing on the damn hook. So they were blocking the entire avenue for 5 minutes because a car was parked illegally. That meant that like one street parking spot was not open up so that somebody could park in it and pay like 25 cents an hour to park there. And I was sitting there like smashing my steering wheel, like make it make sense. Can't you just let them be illegally parked to like I get that the illegal parking is like an inconvenience, but at the same time is like you blocking the road. I've got like 30 cars behind me. 30 cars times 5 to 10 minutes per car is like you just messed up the whole city's day. Like people are going to be late picking up their kids, they're going to be late for doctor's appointments, they're going to get home late, dinner's going to be cold, all because like one Evo parked slightly incorrectly, just like it doesn't seem to be serving a public good. Are you saying he shouldn't have towed it? Yeah. It's like but towing it was worse for the city than just letting the car sit there. And by the city, I mean me specifically, but I don't think it was better for anybody except like the one person who was like, "Oh, a hit parking spot." The inconvenienced like 40 people so that someone else didn't have to walk 10 extra steps from their car. Like it's nuts. Listen, I got no love for the Evo. I'm just saying. What if that person was me? Well, I would never know, but like I support a utilitarian civic design. I think things should work as well for everybody as possible. Like we illegally parked once without knowing it. We parked in an area where like it was okay to park, but then after 2 p.m., it's illegal to park there because there's more traffic, so they need the extra lane for, flow or whatever. Listen, I'm not a city planner. So they towed our car, and I wasn't like, "Oh, why did they tow our car?" I was like, "Yeah, I get it. We made a mistake and we accidentally like if our car was there, people would expect that lane to be open. They would get like all the way behind our car, and then they'd have to merge into bumper to bumper traffic. Like it would really slow things down." I understood when we got towed there. Now I was a little annoyed that like they couldn't just maybe knock on the door and be like, "Hey, could you move your car before I tow it?" But I understand that like they're basically an extension of the mob and they have to earn money somehow. By the way, you've stun locked me. This shit drives me crazy. I'm a city planner and this kind of discourse is the worst part of my job. Well, then you can explain it better. Are you going to bat for the tow truck that blocked 30 people from getting where they needed to go so that one person would pay $200 to the towing company? Oh, it's bait. It's bait from Knight's Try. Oh, now I'm mad for a different reason. Because it also ties back to when I mentioned people will literally watch the stream and then make like a thinly veiled reference to something that happened 2 years ago. And then when you don't get it immediately, they'll be like, "What's wrong with you? Brother, what's wrong with you?" If they don't tow it, there will be no fear to parking illegally? Okay, like what? Who cares? Can't you just fine them? Can't you just write down their license plate and give them a ticket or something like that? Living in Portland, they basically don't enforce any parking stuff. I learned that from the rehearsal. Because that one guy didn't even have a license plate on his car. And Nathan Fielder was like, "Are you really driving without a license plate?" And he's like, "Yeah, the cops don't care." And everyone watching was like, "That doesn't sound right." And there was a person on the subreddit that was like, "I live in Portland," and actually he's pretty much correct on that. My city doesn't enforce any parking laws. It's going to hell as a result. What do you mean it's going to hell? Oh, I thought I was smarter than I am. I live in a city that's beautiful, and occasionally you see some nightmarish stuff. I'm telling you, parking enforcement's like the least of our worries. Apparently, they're doing a lot of parking enforcement, and it's still hard to find a place to park. So, like, you know, it's just the consequence of having a lot of people. Oh, why? What am I doing here? I think you'd miss it if it was gone. I don't think so. Based on me being me and knowing myself and knowing my city, and you just guessing based on your own preconceived biases, I'm going to have to... I'm not saying I'm right. I'm saying I'm going to continue to hold my opinion for now until I see a compelling reason to switch to yours. It is nice, though. We're entering the season where... What am I doing? We're entering the season where the weather gets nicer. More people bike, which is great. A little annoying sometimes. Not because they're biking, but because I try not to hit people with my car. I'm a little bit of an unusual Vancouverite like that. And it does add a layer of complexity. But what it also does is make so many more parking spots available. Sometimes I used to get a little annoyed by cyclists. I was like, oh, there's so many cyclists today. Then one day, a light bulb went off in my head where it was raining, and I was like, oh my God, there's so many parking spots. There's no parking spots. That's because nobody's biking today. Everybody drove their car to work because their car is basically an umbrella. Now, anytime the weather's nice and I see a lot of cyclists and then there's ample parking wherever I need to go, I say, thank you, cyclists. Thank you so much for making it easier for me to drive my car.